This is my 1998 VT Calais 5 litre. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, it is on club plates. I'll get into that a bit later in the video, but yes, it does make me feel old, and I'm sure it'll make many of you feel old as well, but it is 25 years old here in Victoria. It's eligible. The VN is sort of at the end of its journey. I've done everything that I can really to the VN. The VT has just begun. Now, while I've had this car for a while, I've only got it registered in the November just gone, so there is a lot to do. You might be thinking, Deacon, why do you have a VT on club plates? You know, you see them everywhere. And, you know, I do sort of understand it. Now, let me make this clear. This is not my daily driver. This is a car that lives in a shed and that I really, really enjoy. I think it absolutely satisfies all the criteria of historic plates. It is significant in the history of Holden. This is the last model ever fitted with this motor. Now, this is my favorite engine, the injected 5 litre, and it really is not that different from the 308s and the early Commodores and Kingswoods. Like I showed you in my VN in my previous video, they just sound fantastic. Now, this is a totally stock engine make only. I haven't done anything except repairs in here, of which there are a few, which we'll go over later. Now, we're inside the VT at the moment, and I'm sure, like many Aussies watching this, they have spent a lot of time in these cars where their mum and dad owned them or they've owned them as a P-plater. Now, for all you Commodore nuts, it does have a undersuede dash kit. It does have a wood grain shifter surround, but everything else is POV pack. I'm going to come back to that later. I've got a massive list of stuff that I'm going to be doing to this car. Overall, the interior is in pretty good nick. I really do like these suede sort of material, and yeah, I really can't complain about everything in here. It does have the metal chrome handles. There are a few things in here that aren't fantastic. The headlining, I don't think has too much life left in it. I bought this car at the peak of COVID. However, I got a pretty good price. I paid $4,000 for this car. Lying in bed one night at home, just about to go to sleep, and I just see this car pop up on Marketplace 1 minute ago. And I thought, nah, that's it. That's the one for me. Immediately after the bloke responded to me, I drove out there that night and bought the car. Yes, I probably did rush the purchase a little bit. I was very, very excited. I've kept it for this long, so can't be that bad. You might notice that it's got stockies all round and it's been lowered. That is the P-plater in me coming back out again. When I was younger, and in fact, really, I still do, I always lower my cars. It's just a rite of passage. It just has to be done. I think I really am not the biggest fan of how these are stock height, and I just think they look a lot better. In terms of the stockies, I probably will be getting rid of them. They're more just for it to pass a roadworthy, and the car is actually broken at the moment. We'll get into that later. For now, they're okay, but I do want to change them. Now, if you guys are following me on TikTok, you'll know that I actually just wrecked a VT Calais in the same colour, an L67 one. There's a lot of parts here that I'd actually like to put on the Calais. I've got a leather shifter, I've got some wood grain, some of the fat chrome moulds. The boot did have a spoiler. I hated the spoiler on it, and it's just got these ugly holes. Luckily, this new Calais had no boot holes, so I'm going to be putting that on also. Now, since I've had this thing, I have had to spend quite a bit of money in here. When I bought it, the alternator died pretty much immediately. So when the alternator was out, I thought I'd do all the belts and pulleys. So I did every belt, every pulley, alternator, all of that, all brand new. I was getting ready for a roadworthy, so I started replacing stuff under the car, but then life just got in the way a little bit, and this car just sat for a while. So up until November last year, I put it on historic plates. After I picked it up from its roadworthy last month, the water pump died. So everything came out again to do the water pump. The issues continue though. Right now, if you drive it for about 15 minutes, once it gets warm, it just shuts off completely. I was hoping and praying it would be this, the ignition module, because that's nice and easy. Unfortunately, it is not. Now, if you're familiar with these motors at all, you know why I look so defeated. This car needs its distributor done. If you're unaware, the distributor lives all the way right down back there. It is just not a very nice job to do it at all. All right, so here's my little parts table. I've got a brand new distributor here. I've got a intake manifold gasket. I am going to take the whole intake manifold off to do this job. I've got some rocker cover gaskets because it's leaking, some new plugs, new leads. I bought one of these rubbers just because the old one's cracked, and I have a new coil. Does it need a coil? No, but it's right at the back there. You know, you may as well do it. And I've got some new plugs. Most people would be satisfied when they take a car to a roadworthy and it gets ticked off. After putting my car up on a hoist after it's roadworthy, I don't think they were harsh enough on me. So I have gone out and bought a lot more stuff to do. So I've got rear shocks, front control arms, some K-frame bushers, some rear link pins, some front link pins, which I've already done, and just a few other minor things as well. I just want to make sure that this car is as good as it can be. And look, between you and me, I love installing new parts, so you didn't have to twist my arm that much. Now you might be thinking, Deacon, what did it actually need for a roadworthy? Well, that's a great question. It needed a new windscreen. It had a big chip in the windscreen, so that needed to be replaced. It had some pretty dark tint, so I had to pull all the tint and glue off. And it needed the clock spring replaced, so all of that was pretty easily fixed. Now in terms of what is wrong with this car, there is a dent right here and a little bit of clear peel. There are some shopping trolley dents on this quarter here. There's some issue with the fuel flap. The rear bumper's got a bit of a mark on it, likely from towing. It's got a disgusting aftermarket Chinese head unit that needs to go in the bin as soon as possible and be replaced with this nice VT Calais head unit that I pulled off that other one that I wrecked. That is going to look so much better. I will be replacing all of this with that wood grain that I showed you earlier. I got a nice new set of these buttons. I'm pretty much just going to be going over the whole car and fixing anything that might be broken. Unfortunately, because of this distributor problem, I won't be taking it for a drive in this video. If I do, I'm going to end up on a tow truck home. So it does run and drive. I can drive it in and out of the shed, but however, I am going to try and fix it very, very shortly. I don't like having it sitting here and I can't drive it, so that is on the to-do list. On second thought, I need to get some milk and bread, so let's risk it for the biscuit. Well, now I'm in the Toyota, so that did not work at all. At least you guys got to hear it running in the start of the video. I don't know what's wrong with it, but I'm going to throw some money at it and hopefully we can sort it out. If you guys enjoyed the overview of this old girl, it is still in its early stages. It's really only been a month since it's been registered. There is a lot of stuff to do. I have a mountain of parts here to install. Juggling all these cars and the L67, and of course I am a normal person, I do work a job. All of these things, it is sometimes hard to make time for everything, but I'm really going to focus on getting this VT done. There's no point spending all this money and having it registered for it to sit here broken. So this will all be fixed soon. Going to crack the lid, pull it all apart, and put that new Dizzy and Hall effect sensor in. Now the thing is, I mentioned before that the Dizzy needs replacing. The distributor itself is probably fine. It's the Hall effect sensor in the distributor. While you're that far, you may as well replace the lot. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Now, I am reasonably mechanically minded, but doing a distributor in one of these is something that I've never done before. It is going to be pushing me. I'm sure I'm going to make some mistakes. I'm probably going to put a 180 out. There's going to be things that I'm going to do wrong. So if that's your kind of thing, then follow along. I'm going to be doing one of these videos about all of the cars here. So yeah, these were once very cheap old bangers, and I'm sure that some people would still argue that they are, but especially with the 5 litre, these are becoming, you know, a pretty significant part of Australian motoring history, and I absolutely love this car and I'll have it for a very, very long time.